Hello and welcome, my dear friends, to another inspiring story on Arise and Learn English, the place where we learn English through real stories, real emotions, and real journeys of growth. Today, I want to tell you a story that changed my life completely. It's not just a travel story. It's a story about courage, learning, friendship, and transformation. It's the story of how I left my home in Germany and went all the way to Australia, a land of beaches, sunshine, kangaroos, and endless adventure, and how that journey turned me into a new person, inside and out. So sit back, relax, and listen carefully, because this story will not only entertain you, it will also help you improve your English, and maybe even inspire you to follow your own dreams. Chapter 1. The Dream Begins. I grew up in a small, peaceful town in Germany. Life there was calm and predictable. Every morning the church bells rang, the same people walked the same streets, and everything seemed perfectly ordinary. But deep inside me, there was a quiet voice whispering, "There's more out there. The world is big. You must see it." From a young age, I loved English. I watched English movies, listened to English songs, and tried to imitate the sounds. But still, when it came to speaking, I froze. I could write essays, I could read novels, but I couldn't speak naturally. One day, my English teacher said to me, "If you really want to master English, you must live it. Go somewhere where people speak it every day." That night, I started thinking about where I could go. The United States? Too far. The UK? Too expensive. Then, I saw a travel video on YouTube. Endless blue oceans, smiling people, and that beautiful word, Australia. Something clicked. It wasn't just about language anymore. It was about adventure, a new life, a new beginning. So I made a decision. I was going to Australia. Chapter 2. The Preparation. Of course, it wasn't easy. I didn't come from a rich family, so I worked part-time jobs, cleaning, delivering food, tutoring kids, and saved every euro I could. At night, I watched videos about Australian life, how people spoke, how they greeted each other, and the slang words like "g'day, mate," "no worries," and "good on ya." After months of planning, I finally received my student visa. I still remember the day the email came. I shouted with happiness. I ran to my parents and said, "I'm going to Australia." They smiled, but my mother's eyes filled with tears. She hugged me and whispered, "Go chase your dream, but never forget where you come from." Chapter 3. Farewell. The day I left was one of the hardest days of my life. My suitcase was heavy, but my heart was heavier. At the airport, I hugged my family for the last time. My mother cried softly. My father said, "Be strong, son. Learn well. Make us proud." When the plane took off, I looked out the window and watched my hometown disappear under the clouds. That's when I realized I was leaving everything behind to build something new. 20 hours later, after crossing continents and oceans, I saw the first rays of sunlight touching the Australian coast. And I whispered to myself, "This is it. My new life begins." Chapter 4. Arrival in Australia. When I stepped outside the Sydney airport, the first thing I felt was the warmth. The air smelled like the ocean, and the sky was so blue it almost didn't look real. Everyone seemed so relaxed and cheerful. People walked barefoot near the beach. They smiled, they said hi, even if they didn't know you. It felt strange, but wonderful. My first real Australian conversation happened with a taxi driver. He said, "G'day, mate. Where you headed?" I froze. His accent was strong, his voice was fast, and I understood maybe half of what he said. But I smiled and replied carefully, to this address, please." He laughed and said, "No worries, mate. We'll get you there." And that was my first lesson in Australian English to stay calm, listen carefully, and never be afraid to ask again. Chapter 5. New Life. New Challenges. I rented a small room in a shared apartment with other international students, a girl from Japan, a boy from Brazil, and another student from South Korea. We all spoke English differently, but we helped each other. The first week was tough. Even buying groceries felt like a challenge. Sometimes people spoke too fast, and I just smiled awkwardly, pretending to understand. But every mistake became a lesson. At school, our English teacher encouraged us to speak as much as possible. She said, "Fluency comes from your mouth, not your mind." That line became my motto. Every day we practiced speaking, listening, and storytelling. And every night I recorded myself speaking English out loud to train my tongue, to get used to the rhythm. Chapter 6. Little Adventures, Big Lessons. One Saturday, I went to Bondi Beach alone. The waves were strong, the sand golden, and the sky endless. I ordered coffee at a cafe near the water. The waitress smiled and said, "How you going?" I thought she meant, "Where are you going?" So I answered proudly, "To the beach." She laughed kindly and said, "No, I meant how are you doing?" We both laughed so much. That small mistake became one of my favorite memories. Because at that moment, I learned English is not about perfection. It's about connection. Chapter 7. The Beauty of Everyday Life. As weeks passed, Australia began to feel like home. I learned how to cook simple meals, how to use public transport, and how to live independently. I spent weekends visiting farmers' markets, listening to street musicians and talking to locals. One day, I helped an old man pick up his dropped groceries. He smiled and said, "Good on you, mate." I didn't know what that meant, but later I learned it means, "Well done, good job." Small phrases like that slowly built my confidence. I started using them too. Every word became a piece of my new voice. Chapter 8. Traveling through Australia. When my semester ended, I decided to travel across the country. I went to Melbourne, a city full of art, coffee, and culture. Then to Cairns, where I snorkeled in the Great Barrier Reef and saw colorful fish swimming around me. In the Blue Mountains, I hiked alone, listening to birds, feeling the wind, and realizing how far I had come, not just in distance, but in confidence. Once in a small town, I joined a barbecue with locals. They invited me even though they didn't know me. We laughed, ate, and shared stories under the stars. And I thought, this is what language is really for, connecting hearts. Chapter 9. Struggles and Growth. Of course, it wasn't all easy. There were nights when I felt lonely. I missed my family, my home-cooked food, and the sound of my native language. Sometimes I doubted myself. Will I ever speak English perfectly? But then I remembered my teacher's words. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress, so I kept going. I joined an English book club. I started journaling in English every night, and slowly, I noticed something magical. I was thinking in English. When I saw something beautiful, I didn't translate it in my head anymore. I just said, wow, that's amazing. That was the moment I realized I was fluent. Chapter 10. A year later. 1 year passed like a dream. I had made friends from all over the world, from India, Spain, Brazil, Japan, and of course, Australia. We celebrated birthdays together, shared food from our countries, and laughed about our pronunciation mistakes. On my last night in Sydney, we all went to the beach. The moon was bright, the waves gentle. We sat in a circle talking about our dreams. I said, when I go back to Germany, I want to share my story. I want to help others learn English and believe in themselves. Chapter 11. Returning Home. When I came back to Germany, everything looked the same, but I had changed. My parents were so proud. My friends were shocked when they heard me speak English so naturally. They said, "You sound like a different person." And in some ways I had learned that the world is not as big as it seems. People everywhere are kind and curious, and language is the bridge that connects us all. Chapter 12. The Lesson. Australia taught me more than English. It taught me confidence. It taught me patience. It taught me that mistakes are not failures, they are stepping stones to success. I learned that no one is born fluent. Fluency is built, word by word, day by day, through courage and consistency. If you are afraid to speak English, remember this. You already have what it takes. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to start. Start small. Speak with people, listen, repeat. Don't give up. Chapter 13. My message to you. My dear listener, maybe you are in your room right now watching this video, dreaming about speaking English confidently one day. Maybe you want to travel the world, study abroad, or simply speak without fear. Let my story remind you, it's possible. If a shy student from Germany could go to Australia, make mistakes, laugh, learn, and come back fluent, so can you. You don't need to go to another country to start learning. Start with what you have: books, videos, podcasts, or even this channel. The most important thing is your mindset. Believe that you can, because you truly can. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I went to Australia, a life-changing journey. I hope it touched your heart and reminded you that language is not just about words, it's about life. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Arise and Learn English for more beautiful stories, graded readers, and inspiring journeys to help you improve your English every week. Remember, learning English is not a race, it's a journey, and every step you take matters. So keep speaking, keep dreaming, and as always, arise and learn English.